Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm back on the topic of the NFL, talking New York Giants. Today the NFL released a statement from Saquon Barkley of him saying he does not know when he will be returning. Training camp starts in just over a week, and Saquon does not know about himself and his return date, so I'm going to be reacting to these statements today. Obviously, this is huge for the Giants if you're a Giants fan. Saquon means so much to this team. We saw last year they were 5-9 team when he only lasted, he got hurt in week 2. So obviously he means a lot to this team. So today I'm going to be looking at what this really means and how I took the news when I saw that. Before we get into the video, question of the day. This is an NFC East question. Who do you guys have winning that division this year? I think you can make an argument for just about every team in that division outside of probably Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is the worst team in that division. But amongst the 4 teams in the NFC East, who do you guys have taking that division this year? Comment below, and at the end of the video, I'll give you my answer. But let's get right into the video. When I saw the fact that Saquon was unsure, saying he does not know about his return date, it took me by surprise because my assumption was, like I said, the injury was in week 2 of last season. So my assumption was he would be ready for this season 100%. We all know Saquon is a guy that really wants to work hard, and we've seen him in the weight room. The dude's strong. The dude just wants to play football. So I figured, now of course, no matter how hard you want to work, you can't make an injury heal faster. But I just had a feeling that Saquon was going to have it figured out and he'd be ready for this year. But that opinion of mine has now changed. Of course, you'd expect, at least I would expect in the past, whatever, guys coming off a big injury, going into that next season when it's about time for them to be better, they have this level of optimism that they're expressing to fans, to the media, that they're ready to go. Saquon's just not doing that. He's been evasive. He's been quiet. He's been just trying to avoid any questioning about it. Now, this could be looked at as a good thing or a bad thing. This could be looked at as Saquon having sort of a competitive edge. Maybe he doesn't want everyone to know that he is back to 100%. That's what I would hope for. I want to see, like I said, in general, unless we're talking about the Bucks or the Texans, my 2 favorite teams, I'm just here to see hopefully as good a football as I can. So I want Saquon to come back healthy as much as anyone. So I think it's possible that he is 100% and just doesn't want everyone to know that. But I also think it's more likely that he is not 100% and he's just evasive for that reason. And as I stated before, this is huge for the Giants. It's huge either way. If he comes back, that they could be right in the contention for the NFC East, and if he doesn't come back, a Giants team without Saquon is really going to have the work cut out for them. I think the Giants team has gotten a lot better than they were last year. The defense of this team, 2 cornerbacks in James Bradbury and Adoree Jackson, 2 of the best in the league. I think you can argue they have a top 10 defense in the league, and if not, they're pretty close, very close to that. Their receiving depth is very, very deep. You get Kenny Golladay this offseason. You get John Ross. You got Darius Slayton. You got Sterling Shepard. You got all these guys that Daniel Jones has to throw the ball to. And you got Saquon for him to hand the ball off to if Saquon comes back healthy. And the reason why I think this situation with Saquon is so big is because I have good faith in this team taking that division if he is healthy. Obviously, a lot is in contingency on Daniel Jones having a good season, which he has not shown that he can do yet. But looking at the other teams in the NFC East, Dallas is going to be an offensive team purely. They draft Micah Parsons on the defensive side of the ball, but I do think that their lack of defense will hold them back. You look at Philadelphia, is just kind of in a rough spot in general. Jalen Hurts is going to be hopefully the starter this year, but nothing's for sure. But that's beside the point. Washington does have a very good defense, and who knows what Fitz can do for them this year. So anyway, my point is a healthy Giants team, which is including a healthy Saquon, is 100% in contention for winning the NFC East, which obviously last year they were pretty close as well. But on the flip side, without Saquon, I think this team, despite having a very good defense, is totally off the table because that just puts too much pressure on Daniel Jones. I don't know, when I think of teams to compare, offenses at least to compare the Giants to, I think of high-power running back in Saquon, so I immediately go to Tennessee. Not that that's a great comparison, but I think of Tennessee without Derrick Henry is a team that I wouldn't put any faith in, and that's a team with Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, 2 of the best receivers in the league. So you look at the Giants' offense, you take Saquon out of the equation, you have a much worse quarterback than Tennessee does, and you still have good receivers. So I don't. That comparison is just what comes to my mind. That the Giants are not really in a position to do anything big in the NFC East, in the playoffs, whatever, without Saquon Barkley. And I just think that the way the situation looks now with this new information about he doesn't know when he's going to return just does not look good for you Giants fans. Again, the possibility that he is just trying to keep his personal situation, the way he's feeling right now, a secret. If he's just trying to hide it from the media, the other teams, I don't know. That's definitely possible, but I just don't see that happening. But with training camp coming just in over a week, you got to be optimistic about his return, but right now it does not look good. Another thing, like I mentioned earlier, you'd expect him to be open about it. I'm feeling great. I'm ready to be back. I'm ready to compete, but you just haven't heard that from him. And I do think, is there a possibility that Daniel Jones has a good season, and with the Giants defense, they somehow fight to win the NFC East without Saquon? Yes, that's possible, but let me read you stats from Daniel Jones' 2 years as the Giants starter. 3-9 his first year, started 12 games, and then last year 5-9, started 14 games. Combined 8 wins, 18 losses, not very good. The production touchdown wise is definitely an issue. 24 his first year, not all that bad. 11 last year, that's about as bad as it gets. Interceptions wise, 12-10, not terrible, but he turns the ball over a lot, fumble wise, and the dude takes a lot of sacks. Not that that's really entirely his fault, but he just doesn't have a great evasion to him. I'm not sold on Daniel Jones. We did a video, one of our original videos on this channel we did about who's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. I think we decided Daniel Jones either was one of the or is the worst quarterback in the league. That was last year, and a lot can change in the offseason. But my main issue with a Saquon-less Giants is the pressure that's going to be put on Daniel Jones, and I simply have no faith in the guy. I'm rooting for him, young guy in the league, in one of the few or only division in the league where you can be a losing team and still have a very good chance of winning the division, at least in the couple past seasons. So I'm not ruling the Giants out with or without Saquon because their defense is good. Without that defense, I would totally rule them out like I am Philadelphia. But all in all, my overall reaction to this is I hope Saquon is going to be ready for this season, even if he's late to training camp, even if it takes him a couple extra weeks to get in the groove. I hope he has a healthy season, and I hope he starts feeling ready to go because I'm excited to see what the Giants can do with him. And on the flip side, without him, I just don't have faith in the Giants' offense. That's really how I felt about this new news. Back to the question today, who do I take to win the NFC East this year? Washington has a great defense. Offensively, just fits. I see him as the starter. Don't have faith in him as the starter, so not going to be Washington, not going to be Philadelphia. I ruled them out. And it's not going to be the Giants because of Daniel Jones, even with or without Saquon. I'm going to go with Dallas to win that division. I think that their offense, led by Dak, a healthy Dak. Hopefully Zeke has a bounce-back season. CeeDee Lamb's one of the best young receivers. Amari Cooper's still young and talented guy. And I just think that despite their defense lacking, they drafted a guy like Micah Parsons. He's a playmaker. I got the Giants. I got the Cowboys winning that division because of their high-powered offense. Guys, that's all for the video. Comment below what you think about Saquon's situation with the Giants. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching 2 Minute Warning.